next Thursday. Or is it Sunday? But it's heating.
Oh, I'll take it.
I'll say heat for them too.
I'm gonna take every person. I'll take that.
79 degrees on Saturday.
Oh, Wednesday, back in the 40s. We're not looking at Wednesday, right?
The wind Saturday made it.
Saturday was really on West Edge. He goes to the House Commission for the person that does, with the horse, civil engineers, who doesn't work. City.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll let them talk. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Oh, okay. All right, I hereby call this meeting of the Millburn CC School District 24 Board of Education Board of Education meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Oh, there he is. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
John Renton,
Here.
Brandon Murphy.
Here.
Cut training,
Here.
Jillian Phelps. Here. John Russell,
Here.
Brad Scottsdale,
Here.
and Lisa Booster. Here.
All right, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, we're gonna do things a little differently, so. We have a list
List.
for public comments. We're gonna ask everyone if you have spoken, so new people could speak. If you have spoken in the last two meetings, to kindly yield your time so other people can speak.
No.
Not appropriate. That'd be nice.
You were told we could speak.
All right, first one up.
Leah Nabu. Good evening, my name is Leah Nabu. I created the change.org CODL program petition, which currently has 1,735 signatures. I would like to remind the Board of Education, as well as the Millburn District 24 community, that we will not give up. The CODL program, as well as the Blue STEM and Monarch programs, all need to be reinstated in District 24. Our fight is not over until these programs are reestablished. I have met with concerned community members as well as local Illinois government officials. I will not stop fighting until you understand the utter anger that our community is dealing with. We must stand together in defense of this program and its vital role in our community. Let us not allow ideological differences to cloud our judgment and hinder the growth and development of our students. The Rebecca CODL program belongs in Millburn District 24, and it must be safeguarded from censorship based on political beliefs. The board needs to reevaluate its decision. This is a detrimental mistake that will forever be looked back on as a resolution due to political beliefs. I hope you all think about the hurt you have caused and come to your senses. Thank you for your time. Heidi Young. Good evening. My name is Heidi Young, and I'm a junior at Lakes High School and attended Millburn for my K grade education. I've attended the past 2 board meetings, and I've noticed a pattern that I find quite frustrating. For the past couple of meetings, interruptions from the audience during your discussions about the Reader's Choice Award program have become frequent. And we often hear one of you, most often Mr. Ruggles or Mr. Lorenzen, say things along the lines of, "We've listened to you, now it's your turn to listen to us." These individuals showing up to your board meetings don't wish to disrespect you. They don't listen to you because they know you aren't listening to them. So why should they pay you that respect when you don't care to do the same for them? When you are actively going against the decision of this community. You were elected onto this board to represent this community, not to do what you think is best for this community.
I recommend we should start putting you all on a 3-minute timer, because all you seem to do is go around in circles about compromises that our community doesn't even want. We want the Reader's Choice Award program to be reinstated into District 24 schools, and we will show up to every board meeting until we, the community, makes that happen. Thank you for your time.
And Melina?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Benjamin Paladez Molina, a former Millburn K-8 student, and I'm here speaking for the Molina Roldan family. My family has been a part of this community for a very, very long time. We're students, exactly. We have found the board's behavior careless and disrespectful, not only to the families of this community, but the children that you represent. Oh, sorry. We failed to find the issue with promoting diversity in our children's books. We don't understand why it's an issue for our children to know that people are different than them. We find there's only one solution that you can do to right the wrongs you've made to this community. Please reinstate the call program if you have any respect for the community who elected you. Thank you for your time.
Melina now?
Good evening. As a Millburn alum, I am deeply troubled by the recent decision to eliminate the Rebecca Cottle book program for our district's curriculum. This short-sighted move not only restricts students' access to diverse literature, but also undermines their intellectual growth and development. The Rebecca Cottle book program has been a cornerstone of literacy education, not just in our district, but across the state of Illinois. According to data from the Association of Illinois School Library Educators and Rebecca Cottle Young Readers Book Award, over 300 schools participate in the program annually. This widespread participation underscores this program's significance in promoting literacy and fostering a culture of reading among students. Moreover, this research consistently shows that exposure to diverse literature enhances students' cognitive abilities, critical thinking skills, and empathy. Students who engage with diverse literature demonstrate greater cultural awareness and sensitivity towards others' perspectives, as highlighted by Angela Saul, a fellow Millburn alum. So rightfully points out that removing the program exacerbates issues of discrimination and prejudice within our community. Furthermore, the Rebecca Cottle program empowers students to take ownership of their reading choices, participate actively in the selection process. Each year, students nominate and vote for their favorite books, fostering a sense of community in their education. This student-driven approach not only promotes a love for reading, but also instills confidence and independence in our young readers, as noted by Ernest Ebert, another Millburn alum. In addition to its education benefits, the Rebecca Cottle program serves as a catalyst for community engagement and dialogue. Through book discussions, author visits, and related activities, the program brings together students, parents, educators, and community members, fostering a sense of camaraderie and a shared purpose. Removing the program not only deprives students of these enriching experiences, but also undermines a sense of community that defines our district. Former student Berkeley Murphy underscores the perils of exerting power to censor these diverse viewpoints. When we eliminate books that confront established beliefs, we perpetuate a closed-minded educational environment, stifling students' exposure to various perspectives. Education must prioritize cultivating open-mindedness, critical thinking, and tolerance, rather than enforcing singular narratives. In conclusion, as a Millburn alum, I echo the sentiments shared by Angela Saul, Ernest Ebert, and Berkeley Murphy, among others, who have compassionately advocated for the reinstatement of the Rebecca Cottle book program. The statistics speak for themselves, with over 300 schools across Illinois participating in the program. It is evident that the Rebecca Cottle book program plays a pivotal role in fostering literacy and encouraging student engagement. By removing this program, we not only deprive our students of diverse literature experiences, but also undermine the fundamental principles of education, which should prioritize open-mindedness, critical thinking, and tolerance. Let us uphold the values of diversity, inclusion, and intellectual freedom that define our community, and empower our students to become compassionate, informed, and engaged citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer quickly?
Jennifer Quigley, 20-year resident of Millburn School District. I had this great speech written, and then these 4 alumni came up, and I was like, don't forget that. Teachers, you need to be so proud of these kids. Wow, you guys have blown me away. And if you guys don't listen to a single adult in this room, listen to these kids. Millburn has done a phenomenal job educating them. Like, I can't even read my speech because it's embarrassing. I have a doctorate. That's amazing. So obviously, these kids are very passionate about the education that they received at Millburn. The Rebecca Cottle program, the Reader's Choice program was a part of that. The education that they received here has gotten them to where they are. Imagine where they're headed. And this was the foundation for their education. So parents, teachers, the school board, you guys need to be so proud of these kids and where they're headed. Like, I'm just gonna sit down now.
Diane Collins.
Hello, my name is Rayanne Collins. I'm going to change gears just a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between listening to the meetings via live stream versus in person. I think those of you who were last time can maybe attest to this a little bit, like the meeting got a little out of hand. It was not managed well. It was like a circus, and it was loud. I came back and I listened to the live stream for some clarification, and I was really shocked at the point that the meeting I was listening to versus the meeting I was at were 2 very different meetings. Now, that meeting was a direct call and response to the previous meeting where 60 people stood up and made comments, public comments in favor of the Reader's Choice program. And after it kind of went around the board and went around, and the president of the board just threw his hand up and said, I'm just here to vote. People did not feel heard. And the noise level and the outbursts at that meeting directly reflected that. I understand that there is sound canceling software that is used to buffer out ambient noise. We need that. That is great. The point of these meetings is so that the public can hear what the board says, not what we're saying, what the board says. I totally understand that. But it buffers out pretty much everything that is above a normal talking voice on the live stream. And so I get that, and I get that this is a business meeting that is held in public, and I get that public comment is for us to say to the board and for them to respond to that. But, and it's one-way conversation, but I do also think that public response to a public comment is also a direct comment to the board. And I think it is important that people hear what is going on, and that is not showing up. So I want to do just a little sound check real quick. So those of you who have been to the meeting before, I want you to beep anything up, pretend I said something really awesome. And I'm gonna count out, like for a 3 second. And I just want you to clap if you have for all the rest of the people who have been up here, okay? So. Okay, so when you go back and you listen to the live stream, you hear a little pause in my comment that I'm making. Just know it is not dead sound. It is not a little fuzziness. It is not silence. It is not people not responding. It is clapping. It is not reflective of any kind of silence that they hear on the live stream. It is directly reflective of people clapping to the point that it is loud enough that it is being buffered out and you are not hearing it. And so if you're curious about if people are listening or not, for the 4-8 meeting, 307 people listened to the live stream. For the 3-18 meeting, 546 people have listened to that live stream. For the 3-11 meeting, 673 people have listened to that live stream. Versus previous meetings, on previous months, there's like 4. There's 11. I think I saw 23. There's not, I mean, these people are coming out and they're listening because this is important to them. They do not feel heard by you.
Thank
So
you.
there is so much more going on, and I just want people to understand the difference between the live stream and the meetings. So thank you.
Brian Witt.
My name is Brian Witt, and I'm a 6th grader at Millburn Elementary. I was sad to hear you made the decision to stop our Mark challenge. The kids at my school are excited to compete every year. This year, our school read a total with a total of 6,000 Monarch books. The second graders read 2,000 of the Monarch books. We read so many books because we love the program. I read 19 out of the 20 Monarch books this year. My favorite was This Very Tree, about a tree in between the Twin Towers on 9/11. When the towers fell, the only thing left of the tree was a seed. And then they brought the seed to a park and it regrew, and then the tree moved back. It tells us that even if something bad happens, it can still grow and be okay. The Monarch Challenge brings fun with reading and gives us a chance to vote. I don't think kids will be as excited to read books without the Monarch Challenge. Also, I don't think you should ban the program because you don't want us to read one book. I feel like even if we're young, we can still learn about these things. If we don't learn about these topics, they might happen again. Please think about the kids at our school and how we feel about reading, and please bring back the Monarch Challenge. Erica Peterson.
There's one topic. So my name is Erica Peterson. I am an adult member of the Millburn community for about 10 years. We lived in my son started kindergarten. He's now this fall, he's a freshman at Lakes. We love Millburn. I have spoken before at these meetings. I'm here tonight because I want to add my voice once again to everybody here who opposes what this board is doing. And also just to remind the four of you that it's not okay and we're not going away. I also will note that the sheer arrogance that the four of you have to ignore what we as parents and teachers and community members and students want is astonishing. And Ms. Wooster, I would appreciate the courtesy of you even listening to what I'm saying. If you wanted this position, you owe it to the public to sit there and participate. And I have been in multiple meetings where this is how you behave and it's not appropriate. It is so disrespectful that I want to make a comment about it. The truth is that the four of you have overstepped your authority and you have abused your power. I personally have no confidence going forward that any of you are going to do the right thing, but I'm going to make a few requests anyway. The first thing I'm going to ask is that you stop lying to us. Stop telling us that you wanted to have a discussion about these books when you went ahead and you took an unjustified vote and you shoved your opinions down our throat. Stop lying to us and telling us that you still want to have a conversation when you have heard from all of these people tonight, 2 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and you're still doubling down on your position. So don't tell us that you want to talk about it. And stop telling us that you respect the teachers, because every teacher who has stood here before you has begged you not to do what you're doing. And what you've done is you could show them a profound disrespect for their qualifications, for their subject matter expertise, and their time. These teachers work relentlessly, and for you to put a burden on them that should never have been created is despicable. The second thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is don't vote on a compromise on the Caldwell book, which I understand is part of the agenda, and that's going to be up for discussion. There is nothing to compromise on the Caldwell book program. It is a wonderful program, and it should be reinstated in its entirety. For you to even discuss a compromise, to me, is like, let's discuss a compromise on whether or not the sky is blue. And all of us tell you that the sky is blue, but the four of you want to tell us that the sky is yellow, it doesn't mean the sky is green. It doesn't mean that the sky is blue just for people who opt in and want the sky to be blue, but it's yellow for everybody else. The sky is still blue, and if you still calling it yellow, it just means you're wrong and you're out of touch. The last thing I'm going to ask you to do, and again, I don't have any confidence you're going to do it, but I'm going to put the request out there anyway, is do the right thing, do what this community wants, and reinstate the Caldwell program in its entirety. Thank you.
Berkeley Murphy.
All right, so first, I like to say I love the pins on your shirt. They're
Thank
great. All right, and so Whenever I hear you guys kind of defend your point, you say you agree with us, and then you don't agree, and then you listen, but you don't understand. And it's surprising, because with ears that big, I think you'd listen better. The fact that you guys would be fine with coddle and accelerated reading is contradictory. You say you don't want coddle, but then you'd be fine with both. You're trying to rewrite a stable program. It's like my band director recently. We were playing a senior song that the seniors chose, but he wanted me and another student to rewrite it for all the seniors to solo, and it doesn't work. It didn't work. We went back to how it was. And finally, I'd like to read this poem called Band, a little excerpt. You can just sit and watch as people go about their day, no longer able to read your book. You know what? There are people out there that need your book. You know that there are people out there that benefit from your writing. You know that there are people out there that keep your voice from the public, keep others from reading your books, keep others from hearing the truth, keep you from sharing your thoughts. Banned. Your story is silenced from those who need it. Banned. Your voice is taken away by others. Banned. And your book could have helped the world, but now it's banned. I hope your claim to infamy is worth it.
Morgan Bridge. Hello, so I'm Morgan Fresh, don't have any kids in school yet, expect to be our first in Millburn taxpayer for 4 years. So I don't have school or kids in the school program, don't know very much about the program. My issue is with this book, that Ruggles brought as he had a lot of issues with. So I hosted a neighborhood book club. Ruggles is on our street, actually. I hosted a neighborhood book club, unstamped for my neighbors and I said I would donate $10, for everybody who read it. We got 15 to read it. My employer doubled it, so $3 to the NAACP. My takeaways from the book. But in general, I do not understand why the concept of promoting racial equality is a left-leaning concept. It's a human right. That's truly despicable. It's 150 pages of content, includes pictures. Took maybe 2 hours. We take breaks. I don't know why you all haven't read it. That's embarrassing for you. But again, racial equality is about human rights. I have gone to school, college with a lot of conservative people, and I didn't think racism was a tenet of being conservative. But if you're not actively fighting racism in America, you're condoning it. So that's what you're doing with this. I don't understand what was problematic about this book. I have not heard exact excerpts. I'd love to hear those from Ruggles when he has time. There were 3 pages out of 150 that talk about words and policies of Trump while he was running in an office. That's factual and calling it what it is. If you want to disagree that the president former is racist, it's like anybody with 2 neurons can put those together and realize that. So, and just to summarize for everyone who maybe didn't read the book, 150 pages with pictures, but it is summarizing the history of slavery, segregation, the civil rights movement, and how racism is active in our modern society. So this is sick to me. I moved here for grade schools, okay, just paying tax everybody else, and I don't understand why the concept of racial equality is left leaning. It's a human right. So please reconsider your choices. Read the book.
We have Deborah, is it Altwell? Sorry.
Hello, my name is Deborah Altoff Will. I have a master's degree in English, as well as a master's degree in library and information science and 24 years experience working in schools and school libraries. I'm a board member and past president of the Illinois Association of Teachers of English. I'm also a board member and past president of the Association of Illinois School Library Educators. I represent both of those organizations here tonight, and that represents thousands of English teachers and librarians throughout the state. IL and IATE both urge you to reinstate the Reader's Choice Award program in your schools and school libraries. Let me be clear about this for a moment. The Reader's Choice Award program is not only the Coddle list. There are 4 awards supported in this program. The Monarch Award for grades K through 3, the Blue Stem Award for grades 3 through 5, the Coddle Award for grades 4 through 8, and the Lincoln Award for grades 9 through 12. To participate in each of these awards, schools and libraries register for each level that is appropriate for their patrons. The cost to register is $10 per award. So Millburn's cost to participate in all three of the programs serving its students is $30. Please note that I am not here tonight for the amount of money our organization makes regarding Millburn's participation in Reader's Choice. We are all here for the same reason. We care about our students, we care about our children, all of us. I saw how disheartened members of the administrative team were at the last meeting. And I heard the outrage from the community whose patience was frayed. I also heard the frustration of the board in asking, why this list? The Reader's Choice Awards are student-centered, focused on providing students with a wide range of reading opportunities. As a profession, librarians believe in students having the choice to read books that speak to their hearts. And we recognize that not every book is a fit for every kid. No student is forced to read any book on these lists, but we unapologetically encourage students to explore a wide range of literature that represents the diverse communities of Illinois and our country. The Reader's Choice Award program helps develop a sense of community, encourages students to celebrate reading, and allows students to use their voice to choose the best books in our state. I hope the board will decide to allow students at Millburn to make the choice to participate in these programs and will allow their teachers and librarians to support students who choose to participate. I travel all over the country. People ask me, how do you get students to read? Your librarians have created a program that supports student-centered learning and active participation in literacy program, as evidenced by the students who are here tonight and at last month's board meeting.
Thank you.
I hope the board chooses to listen to its constituents and reinstates the Reader's Choice Award program at all levels. Thank you.
Jean Aiken.
Good evening. My name is Janae Aiken, and I am a member of the ISLE Award Committee, Association for Illinois School Library Educators. I am also the liaison for Illinois Association of Teachers of English for the CUDDLE program. I just wanted to give a little bit of background on the CUDDLE program. How are these books chosen to be on the list to begin with? It starts with student choice. Students from all around the state send in their favorite book. That is called to a list of 100 based on criteria. Is it the first book of a series? Is it recent? Things like that. After that, 75 members, professional teachers, librarians from throughout the state, read 10 books and grade them on a rubric. After that, the highest 50 vote getters, all 75 of us read all 50. After that, we get together and we vote and we encourage what we should do for this list. We try to make sure that we have things that fit the fourth grade level. We try to make sure that we have things that fit our 8th grade level because this does span 4 grade levels. Once we have the list, we ask schools to participate. And it is because this list is so student choice and student voice, please really reconsider taking away your students' ability to make choice. That's what education is about, right? You want them to think, you want them to explore, you want them to find out the right fit. Do they have to read all 20 books? No. In order to vote, they have to read 3 books on the list of 20. We understand that the list is a wide range. We understand that no book is for every single reader, but we really do want to promote the diversity of our state, and we want kids to continue to be creative, critical thinkers and explorers. Please do not take away student voice and choice and reinstate all of the student choice programs. Thank you.
Bryn Omed. Hello, my name is Bernadette. My name is Ellie Vivian. We're both sixth graders here at Millburn. I speak for many students when I say that the CODO program is very important. I've grown and improved very much just because I read one book over something called Turtle. I used to only read graphic novels, and I was an average reader. I was required to read a CODO book over the summer, and it was a rather chunky book. I've grown so much as a reader and drastically improved. I started reading bigger books. I'm not scared to read bigger books. But for a bunch of kids, the program is very important. We need something to read over the summer that the teacher will be able to talk to us about. CODO books were always taken in as soon as they were put back in the library because people love them so much. I will continue reading the books on the CODO program, whether it is at Millburn or not, because I enjoy them. This is important and we want the CODO program back. I hope that your decision regarding the reading program will be reversed. Like I said last time, I used to only read a few genres. However, since I read some of the books from the CODO program that changed, the CODOs have many books to choose from with different genres. Usually, I wouldn't pick some of the books within the program because I never read that genre. However, the books ended up being really good. Yes, the CODO list has many books, but we could choose what we want to read or even read all of them if we wanted to. If you would get rid of them, we can have that list to choose from. If you don't like one or several books from the list, then don't read it or let your child read it. One of my friends said that she now has a favorite book. It was called Red, White, and Home. That book was on the full list. So I hope that you'll change your mind. We really would appreciate if you bring the Monarch Lucid and program back. Thank you for your time.
Chris Hamilton.
Hi, my name is Chris Hamilton. More than 2 weeks ago, I personally reached out to practically every member of the board, with my primary focus being an attempt to facilitate a discussion with at least some subset of the 4 members who voted to remove the reading program. Notably, only one of those individuals even bothered to respond to me. I made a concerted effort to try and meet all of you where you are and to engage in a calm and rational discussion, seeking a better understanding of the issues you have with the reading program. I also sought to potentially work collaboratively with you to help explore solutions to those issues. Mr. Ruggles, your response indicated that you would, quote, love to discuss, talk, debate any issues that may come up at Millburn and find solutions for our children and our community. You also know that you are, quote, always a parent and a community member first and foremost. I took you at your word and I sent several follow-up communications to find a suitable time for us to meet, only to have you ignore each and every one of those emails in turn. What takeaway am I supposed to take from this exchange? What takeaway are any of us supposed to have based on your response to the community and our own staff members who have come to you with their concerns? I've approached this problem from the point of view of seeking to understand your position and give you all the benefit of the doubt that you have the best interests of our students in mind. But your continued attack on this program leaves me and everyone else in the community in serious doubt regarding your true intentions here. What is your end goal here? Have you thought about it and articulated it amongst yourselves? Do you really feel this strongly about this reading program, or are there other personal or political motivations driving your actions? Is there a reason you no longer trust our internal staff and experts with their responsibilities related to this decision? Is there a reason you feel that you 4 are more qualified than they are to make such a decision? Is there a reason you feel the need to add all this extra work and noise to our teachers' lives as we close in on the end of the school year with no additional plan in mind? I've heard you express that you trust our teachers in Millburn, as do I. Have you sought the opinion of our teachers on this specific issue? Have you reached out to them outside of these meetings? What did they say? If you've made a mistake in your haste, we can accept that. If you believe this program is wrong for reasons that actually relate to the well-being of our students in our district, we can still discuss and address that too. Like I tell my kids all the time, it doesn't have to hurt to acknowledge that you've made a mistake, especially when you believe to be well-intentioned. I'm still willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, but we need to undo the damage and dial down the heat so we can get at the root of these issues and start addressing them. Please don't make the mistake of continuing down this path to the detriment of us all. Let's be adults about this and give our teachers and staff a break at the same time. Just undo the damage. We can get to the right brains together over an appropriate time frame to look closely at the issues you've raised and work to address them together. As you've identified about yourself, Mr. Ruggles, we are all parents and community members here. Unless you have motivations contrary to ours, I don't see any reason why we can't meet in the middle to address these concerns together. And before I move on, since I probably have 30 seconds, I want to just point out, it's very striking to me that we have a second grader come up who can better articulate his concerns and be a better public speaker than I've seen from many of these board members. We're looking for guidance.
Alicia Keys.
Hi, my name is Alicia Keith. I'm a former parent and a current employee here at Millburn. I was truly grateful to see that the Reader's Choice program was back on the agenda. And I am concerned about some stipulations the board plans to make. So to kind of piggyback off of what Erica was saying, I don't think there need to be any stipulations for this program. It was great the way it was. I've spoken with Dr. Lind, our middle school media center specialist, some of our teachers, and I've also contacted all of the board members to try and understand how and why the Reader's Choice program came to be so hastily voted out. I didn't hear back from all of the board members, but everyone else confirmed that there had been no complaints from parents about the books or the program, except for a couple of sitting board members who voted out. Those board members created a problem where there was none. They acted on their own agenda, and they used their positions to make parental decisions for the entire district. I understand the board plans to bring the program back, but not without continuing to add obstacles and exert control. The board wants to make the program an opt-in program. Students should not have to opt in to read. Opting in also sets a new precedent that their district defaults to parents opting out of units they don't find appropriate through policy 6260. This happens in classes like health during the depression and suicide unit or the growth and development unit. And how would an opt-in even look? Will students have to opt in to read a current file? What if a parent forgets to sign the form or check the box? And the students read the coddles anyway? Because as the board continues to say, they're not banning books. What if they read 3 coddles and want to vote or put their name in a raffle? And what else might become an opt-in? Will they have to opt in to read the hundreds of past coddles in the library? Will they have to opt in to read the thousands of other books in the library? What about books teachers use in their classrooms or for the Civil Rights Unit or for Black History Month? The students and families have already opted into the Reader's Choice program, both through their participation and with their voices to the board. It is obvious very few parents have issues with the coddle books or the Reader's Choice program. But if they do, they can do what was always available to them and opt out. Keeping track of the opt-out students will also be a lot less time consuming. In addition to hurdles for students, you are also creating unnecessary work for our educators. We should continue to make the list of titles available to families. We should continue to allow the vast majority of our students to freely participate without any obstacles. And we should continue to allow parents or guardians to opt out of a particular book or the entire program if they choose. We have heard the opinions from the 4 board members who canceled the program, but it is apparent the majority of the greater Millburn community does not agree with you.
Thank you.
You can no longer claim you're acting in the best interest of our students. If you don't want your child to participate, opt out as a parent, but please do not misuse your power as a board member to create unnecessary hurdles for everyone else.
Carrie Suggs.
I'm Carrie Sutton, community member, school librarian, and Rebecca Cottle evaluator for our state, one of them. What do authors like Steve Shakin, Megan E. Freeman, Nicole Bellaby, and Ellen Hopkins have in common? Well, They have all expressed their disappointment and concern over the decision that the Millburn Board of Ed made so quickly and recklessly on March 18th. Steve Shaken, Newberry Honor winner, 3-time Boston Globe Horn winner, Cybert Medal winner, and 3-time National Book Award finalist, Megan E. Freeman. Well, she's our current Rebecca Cottle winner for the 2024 medal, whose book alone is also on the state list of, for it, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Vermont, Tennessee, Iowa, Texas, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, California, and Nebraska. Nicole Mellody, whose book How to Become a Planet is on the current 2025 Rebecca Cottle list. And finally, Ellen Hopkins, the New York Times bestselling author of 14 young adult novels, 2 middle grade novels, and 4 adult novels. They have all tweeted and or commented upon our little tiny Millburn district and their decision to cancel the Reader's Choice Award for our community. It's unfortunate when such actions garner negative attention, especially from respected figures in the literary community. It's important for you, as the decision makers, to listen to the voices of our constituents, your constituents, especially when it comes to matters as significant as promoting literacy and access to diverse literature. I hope that the concerns and the preferences of our community are taken into serious consideration. Thank you.
Any sense?
Four elected officials who I've dubbed the Four Horsemen want you to believe that their actions to block the Rebecca Cottle list is justified because those who choose the list somehow have a political agenda. This immediately raised the question in my mind, how did all 4 of these individuals blatantly disregard an actual expert in this field who testified in front of this board prior to their voting? For those who might not know, this is what I wanted to make clear, that this is not just a group of misinformed elected officials who had a whoops moment. The expert that spoke in front of this committee has over 20 years in education, a bachelor's degree in literature from the University of Wisconsin, a master's degree in education from DePaul. She didn't just stop there. When her school needed somebody to step up to take the role in her school as the librarian, she answered the call and went back to school yet again with 3 children and a full-time job. She had a degree to become a librarian. Most of her career, she taught humanities, which is a combination of literature and history, while the last few years she has been nurturing and supporting young minds and their love for the written word in the library. She was honored when she was asked to be part of the Rebecca Cottle Book Selection Committee, even with the countless hours that it took to read all of the books, write the summations and opinions on each and sit through hours of discussions with other dedicated educators. The question that was presented to the public by the Four Horsemen was, who are these people who choose these books and what is their agenda? The only agenda that these dedicated educators have is to pick the best books that will nurture their students, in which they have the honor and privilege to work with on a daily basis. And the Four Horsemen would have understood this if they hadn't already known which way they were going to vote before the vote even took place. So I propose one question to ponder. Is it a group of educators that have the agenda, or the 4 elected officials who haven't even read the books they intend to block? It has become so crystal clear to so many of us in this community who is the one with the agenda here. And we're not happy about it. There are literary giants that have warned us what this type of abuse of power can lead. And I implore the Four Horsemen to pick up some of these books by these masters of literature so they can get a glimpse into where society can lead if abuse of power goes unchecked. To make it perfectly clear to Mr. President, titans that I'm referring to are the likes of Dostoevsky, Bradbury, and Orwell.
not Stephen Meyer.
We have Kathleen McGee.
Hi guys, I'm back. You'll be seeing me a lot. First, I do think it's poor form and just for business practice to ask people to not address the board or president. So to sit up here and say, hey guys, if you already talked about your title's not happening. Obviously, we're all here and almost all of us have been here every time. That's not happening, and that tells me a lot about what you think about what we say. And I think it tells them all a lot too. I have some points to make, and then I have some questions that I'm afraid to the dear board, whichever board you appreciate, you'll answer. I almost swore I didn't. Okay. First, let's stop with the fallacies. A lot of this discussion, after we all make our points, I think quite nicely, everyone says, I don't know why you all, us, are making it political. Let's remember, you came in here and said these books had a political agenda. So you started by saying it is political. You certainly embraced that. And that was the basis presumably of your decision. And again, everyone's mentioned you've never read a single book on any of the lists. That I'll get to that in a moment when I have my questions. I would note 3 of the 4 board members who voted against this hold some sort of political office, or at least attempted to, sir. They're precinct captains, whatever it is, I don't know. I don't care, again, and I said this last time, what political position you take. But the 3 out of 4 of you already hold political positions. I don't think any of us have rushed in here with that, but we'll leave that where it is. Here's my questions for you. 1, please tell me each and any one of you what books on this year's list you've read and what objections you have. If you can't answer that question, then I can only presume you haven't still read a single book on this list. So answer that, because I know we're not in a position where we can ask you legitimate questions and you have to answer. This is just us speaking off the dome, and then you can go back into your discussion. So please just answer that question and tell me what book on this year's list you objected to, what your objection was, and not about the author, not about who made the list, but about the actual book and the subject matter. Words matter. So coming in here and building up straw man arguments, which some of you are quite good at, doesn't serve anyone. Saying, oh, I would do this if someone did that. I'm not interested. What books did you read? What was objectionable about it? And what are you going to do to serve the community? And I also want to thank the board members who've stood up and fought with us. And I appreciate everything you've done. And thank you guys so much.
Okay, next one is Sheila Bates.
My name is Sheila Banks and I live in the Millburn area. I found out about this controversy through the Nextdoor app, and I'm so happy that I did. Looking at what actually transpired, I found it to be very, very disturbing. When parents, teachers, and educators apply a Reader's Choice program that children are embracing, and to have 4 people, remember say 4, decide against the will of the people just because they have some idea that is threatening or is too political or whatever. I had a quote here that said, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. It's one of my favorite quotes. I am a person that embraces all types of history. I recall in the 4th grade going to this while in the state of Mississippi, learning about history. And I was so excited about the Revolutionary War, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, all aspects of history. I don't see it as a problem for someone to learn from. When the movie 12 Years a Slave came out, I was at a neighborhood dinner party. I know John, we sat on the board together. One of the neighbors came and said, aren't you offended? Do you feel some kind of way about your opinion or white people when you saw that film? And my quote to her, still friends, I said, history is history. is neither good or bad, it's just the facts. I hold no ill will towards you or anyone else, because none of us were there when all these acts took place. But I gleaned so much from knowing that different people had various opinions, and they stood up for whatever side they were on, and they fought for this country. And during the Civil War, either side, both had great points of view. But it is the history of this country that makes us a great nation. And I truly believe that all aspects of history should be taught, whether we are offended by it or not. Again, history is history. It's either good or bad. It is what transpired in this great country of ours.
Great. Comment is over. Do we have any addition of non-action items? No? Okay. Action items, approved math curricula, 2-year commitment on the amount of $150,000.
Okay, so board, I want to do a little brief explanation of a change in my proposal from the last time we met. I talked about doing a 6-year licensing. And since I have had conversations with Carly about our budgeting, how that's going to impact our budget, conversation with our instructional coaches about it, and my own thoughts about it. And what we'd like to do is commit to 2 years and pay 2 years up front, because we have the money in the budget, in Carly's amended budget, that we can look at again later. We have $185,000 set aside for this purpose this year, so we can cover it. And the $150,000 was slightly low. It came out to $151,003 and change. So I'd like the board, if you don't mind, to shift direction. We're still gonna be committed to this math program. It takes 3 to 5 years usually for an full implementation of any new curriculum. So we're committed to the curriculum, but as far as what we're paying for it and how we're paying for it, I think it's a better option to do a 2-year commitment up front versus a 6-year. That also gives us more flexibility with materials because of some of our fluctuating enrollments. So if we're purchasing 100 licenses for first grade this year, and then kindergarten enrollment in 2 years goes down to 80, we don't want to carry that those extra licenses forward. So we'll be a little bit more precise in the money that we spend. Any questions about that? So the motion that I can't make a motion. So the motion that I would recommend would be to approve the math curriculum into math, it's called, for 2 years, not to exceed $185,000.
Just for the sake of argument,
Yes.
now imagine if after all these presentations about the necessity for a new math program, after the trial program, somebody on the board were to sit there and say, why this program? Why can't we just celebrate math overall? Why can't we just let the kids choose any math program they want? I see that argument as a correlation to the argument against the Reader's Choice program. It seems so counterproductive that we would trial this math program and that we would just say, no, let's just let the individual teachers decide on what they want in their own specific classroom. Let's let the kids decide how they want to learn. I move to approve the math curriculum as suggested by our competent staff, not to exceed $185,000.
It's the into, to be clear, the into math.
The into math.
Thank you.
Second,
Madam Secretary?
not to exceed.
Not to exceed 185.
Not to exceed $185,000.
Okay,
That's what we have
That says
in the
150
budget.
on here.
well, yeah, it just said
You have to budget a little
150.
higher.
Okay.
Correct.
Item
Jonathan
six.
Benson,
Yes.
Brandon Murphy,
Yes.
Peter Petrini,
Yes.
Jillian Phillips. Yes. John Ruggles,
Yes.
Fred Sketchum,
Yes.
and Lisa Luster. Yes. Motion passed.
6B, approved guidelines for Reader's Choice Program. Ms. Wooster and Dr. Phillips, you met with the teachers?
Oh, we're a doctor now, thank
You are? Fine.
I appreciate that.
You feel it.
One day, not yet, but one day. Lisa, do you wanna go first?
Yes, so, somehow. Yeah, we met with, some ELA teachers last week, an instructional coach. We kind of came to the compromise that we would keep the reading, choice program, but it would be an opt-in program through the library with parent signature. So all the kids that do want to do the program are more than welcome to do so. And that's kind of the agreement we left on.
Some other factors I wanted to add to the meeting, there was some questions on logistics, right? We already have an opt-out part of the program because it's for the library, so like logistically opt-in, I think some questions were raised, and some other board members had some questions about that. The other thing that I want the board to know is when we were meeting the teachers, they did, you know, the teacher's voice was heard, which I really did appreciate, because I feel like they were the voice that had not been heard yet. They felt very afraid, oftentimes they were using the word fearful, that if they were to choose a coddle book, how would that look to the community members, to the board? Like, I think there's a lot of fear around it. I think there's a lot of distrust with the board. That to me did not, you know, feel great after that meeting of that we built distrust as a board. So I think like that's something to kind of ponder, that there's a lot of fear that our teachers have. It not just doesn't feel right for experts that are going in front of our students, and they're excellent. I mean, they're excellent teachers. They're experts at their curriculum, and they're choosing the book because, as the librarian said, it's great literature. When the librarian of the middle school said that it's just great literature, it was like, yeah, like you're not choosing these books because of an ideal, whatever it may be. It's because it's great literature, it's great content, it's great word choice, it connects to a standard, whatever it may be. So I just thought that was something I wanted to tell the board. I just thought it was a very poignant point to make, that they're choosing it because it's great literature. It's something really amazing for students to read. There was nothing more. And then Lisa and I did get a sample of some student assignments, student work. I thought the assignments were great. I mean, there wasn't anything, to my perspective, out of the ordinary. It was like a diary entry. It was rewriting the ending. How do you feel about a character? Like, just very like standard content related books, like questions. So I think that was about it for my meeting.
I don't think an opt-in is appropriate for this. We have opt-out already. We have the policy of opt-out already. We have that for things, like I can't remember who spoke on that, about, in the health class. At the high school level, you have to opt in to allow your child to watch, Macbeth, which shows a severed head. Do some things like that. That's the sort of thing that you would need to opt into. You need to opt into sports that share an increased injury risk. Opting into this program would not be the appropriate method. The appropriate method we already have on file, that is opting out. I'm sure you've all heard of the mantra, if you don't vote political elections, you don't get to complain about the policies that are being made by your legislators. You've all heard that, I'm assuming, something like that. Has anybody here nominated a book for any Reader's Choice program? I did this year upon reading it, upon learning about it. I admit, when I bought this book, I saw The World Needs More Purple Schools. I judged the book by its title and by its cover. I thought it was going to be about a kid painting his school purple. like Harold and the Purple Crayon just goes out and do one. I read it to my kids, kindergarten and second grade, completely different. It's about how, when you're in school, you're gonna meet people who have different opinions than you. You're gonna need to find a way to work together. Red and blue are the colors of our two primary parties, work together. Purple is what we need. I'm also an author myself. One of my books, The Power of Punishment, was once ranked in the top 7,000 of social philosophy on Amazon. In The Power of Punishment, I take a look at two separate power systems and two criminals and their punishment in society. One tried to assassinate a king and the other was inappropriate with children. This 12-year-old book. So we take a look at these power systems. We have the sovereign, the king, who then was swift with his punishment, and it was a reductive power system. The sovereign was there to take away essentially powers and rights from the people. But we as a board, we are here to be a productive power system. We are here to enable people to do things. We're not here to take away the rights, not to take away the access. We pool our resources as a community to build this school, and that's what we should be doing. We should be giving more access. We should not be restricting it. We put faith in Jason to find good staff and our principals to find good staff to do this. We choose to live in a state that highly emphasizes public education, pardon me. And to become a librarian, usually you will have a master's degree in education. It'll take you a while to get there. I think that this decision has caused more harm to our image as a school. And an anecdotal story I will share with you. Yesterday was my son's 6th birthday party. We had a guest there who had just moved to the district from out of state, from below the south of the Mason-Dixon line. She was talking with 2 other moms and talking about the schools, how great Millburn is. And one of the other moms said to this new resident of the district, we have some issues with the school board right now, but the schools are really good. That's not the image that I want a new resident here to see, that there's issues with the school board. That's maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago, she moved here, but now this is that established community members are seeing us as a whole negatively. Another one of our public commenters tonight, I apologize, I don't remember which one it was, talked about not speaking out against oppression. There's a great author, Howard Zinn, who wrote about you can't stay silent on a moving train. If you don't speak out against injustice, you are just as culpable as the persons who commit it. And that's why it's important to keep the program as it is and to stand up for what we all believe is right. And I understand that some people can get upset about things and act hastily. People can change. I don't think opting in is the right choice. We should educate the parents more, and I would be fine with educating the parents more about the list of books, about the procedures, and allow them with a streamlined process to opt out. The parents might not know they can even opt out of these things. I'm sure Jason's received complaints about other curriculum issues, not specifically this, that say, I don't like my kid learning about mixed fractions or irrational numbers. And then you would direct them to the proper curriculum objection form. But the fact that they would go to you I don't know of any specific person who did that. But the fact that they would go to Jason or Jake first shows that they might not already know about the process to opt out or object to that curriculum. So I think it would be better to stress, to emphasize the ability to opt out instead of opting in. And everybody who's emailed the board, I'm sorry if I haven't taken the time to respond to you. We are volunteers and it takes time to get to everyone, but in time I will get to. That's what I got on this.
I thought they had a really, we already have a really good system of opting out. When you come in, it's voluntary. And that if you have, a book you don't want your child to read, you can let them know. And opting in requires that parents get the message and then go and make the decision, which if you've been in schools long, you know, getting messages to parents can sometimes be really hard, you know. Emails go unanswered, phones don't always work, children don't bring stuff home. I meant to sign it, but I didn't get it back on time. I cannot tell you how many free field trips I missed as a child because I was terrible at bringing those things back. It's the wrong way to go if we want real participation in this, because you're gonna lose a lot of participation just from parents, just being parents and not returning the paperwork that they needed to return. So.
My 2 cents, one of the parents who stood up that I responded to a few of the parents, and then I didn't, because I stopped after that because I didn't want to undermine what Jillian and Lisa were tasked to do. So, I didn't, at that point, that's when I have talked to some of the teachers and the media center folks, and I thought this was a very decent, I don't even want to say compromise. It was a good idea because it actually, it takes both points of view and takes them into account. So if
There are 2 points of view.
if you want to have the Reader's Choice program, which, like someone said before, the Reader's Choice program does go all the way through high school. And I know last year it ripped some communities apart. It hasn't done that here.
Thank you.
I know I was talking to a board member who said they had people standing outside the high school burning them in effigy. It got pretty bad. So again, that's the Reader's Choice high school level. So some people don't want to be in it. Some people do. So I agree, if what they talked about was, hey, I don't want this program to leave our school. And this is basically the same thing. You can have the program by opting in, and you have to opt in to go on a field trip and some other things. At our school, we know how to do it. If you want to opt into this program, you don't have an argument to say this program has left the school. It's there for you. Just let us make sure the parents know that.
You're setting
Thank
precedent
you.
to open up and attack other parts of the curriculum. That's concerning. This sets precedent by putting opt-in versus opt-out.
Please continue, John.
We got the bigger things.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue. Even though I'm getting interrupted when I didn't interrupt anybody.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna continue, and hopefully you guys will listen. What this does is, the program's back at the school. It reinstates the program for everybody who wants it. And for those who don't want it, you're not blindsided if you missed something.
What happens to the kids who
So-
bring their kids
So-
home?
Thank
They
you,
can't
ma'am.
read those books.
So you're not blindsided by if you missed something. I was.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Parents' issue.
Do we need to clear the room?
We might have to. We need to clear the room, folks. That's fine.
We're moving.
I'm certain the teacher,
Send us, and
I- I'm sorry.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's supported you. This is out.
having said all that, I'm good with the I don't even want to say compromise. I'm good. They met with the teachers and and said, okay, our concern is that this program is gone away and we want it reinstated. This reinstates the program. We just need a parent to say, I want you to be in it, which shouldn't be too hard to do. We do that for every field trip.
So when will that?
Thank you.
Registration for that?
Yes, it should go out with the registration packet. And the reason one of the reasons I think is because I didn't know. I really didn't. So I got blindsided by something.
Thank you.
So,
Because.
so what I'm saying is if I missed it, I know others probably do as well. And, I'm gonna read something here real quick. This is what we send out to, about the CAUTL program. We advise parental review and discretion when selecting a book. Some books contain language and subject matter that might be mature for your child. We suggest that parents read the book with their children and discuss it together like a book club. So we, as a school, feel that we need to put this disclaimer in.
This already goes out.
This goes out. So we know, hey, we need to put a
So the
disclaimer.
job is done. So you want to make it opposite.
What
so
I'm
that
saying
people
is-
who miss
What I'm saying.
don't get to participate.
Okay, what I'm saying is,
Which is-
someone who missed this disclaimer.
Yeah.
If they signed it, we know they didn't miss the disclaimer. And you know what?
So you want people to sign?
Tell me why you don't want a parent to know.
I do want them to know.
Why
I
don't
want
you,
them to
why
know,
don't you want
but
to?
it's there for them.
So if they miss it, sorry,
But John,
My bad.
they can always opt out. That's the right, like, if a kid, you know, if they don't want to be part of the CAUTL list, or if their parents get wind that they're reading something that they don't want their child to read. With my knowledge that they can opt out at any time during the year, correct, in the library program. So I will say maybe from like your perspective, it might be a hard conversation to have with your child, like, oh, I did not want you to read this, like this. And like, as a parent, you do have to take responsibility that I should have been more attentive. Like, it all happens. We're all busy with parents, but sometimes you have to take that as a parent that like, I missed this. I didn't want you to read this. I'm gonna talk to the school and I'm gonna opt out.
I agree with you, and I want to protect those parents who missed it. And think about what we just canceled. Think about what we just canceled this week. We just canceled the fun run.
Thank you.
We just canceled the fun run and activity night because we don't have community involvement. Parents are busy. They're missing things. They're not, we had to just cancel two epic things for lack of community involvement.
Those are two separate discussions.
It's the same thing though.
We're the reason we're getting uninvolved.
So, I mean, are you uncomfortable with an opt-in?
So when Lisa were talking to the teachers, the teachers were uncomfortable, and I mean, I have thought about it, it doesn't logistically make sense, right? It's a lot of burden, it's a bigger burden on the library. Which I
How is
don't
it
want
bigger
to extra
than a
pressure.
field trip? How is it bigger
But
than?
that's not.
If it goes out with the registration packet,
Right, but from.
why
when I
can't we
was
send it
talking-
out with the registration packet and say, if you want your child in this, sign here, like
Right,
you have to
but when I
sign
was
up?
talking to librarians, it was just, like, there were some points that were made about admin, right, we know data, we get to know how many students are in the program, which I think is a data point that we need to know, right? It would be really great to see 90% of our students participate in the CAUTL list, they're reading these types of genres, like, I think that would be really great data. But there was still some hesitancy when we were talking with our group of teachers, and right, it was a small group, but they advocated as the EL team. There was still apprehension, and I think the biggest thing was the fear, like, there's still a lot of fear if they were to choose a CAUTL book, that we did not reinstate the CAUTL, like.
From what I
the teachers
understand,
did
the
not
fear
trust
was we
us,
didn't
John.
trust that they'll
Like,
pick.
that is the biggest thing, like, we've lost the trust of the teachers and the librarians.
I think the message that got back to me is,
I just want to do what's right for the community and the teachers.
the
and-
message-
And our students.
totally agree. The message that got back to me, I think through Jason or somebody, was that the teachers didn't think we trusted them to pick the right books. I absolutely do, and I have no issue with that whatsoever. Like I said, I trust our teachers to pick the books.
Even
Okay,
if they're on the cuddle list.
yes,
There's no restriction on.
there's
I
no,
think that-
there's zero restriction on the teachers picking those books.
The issue, the precedent it sets to have to opt in to something that if a parent objects to can already opt out. Yeah,
Why put the onus on the parent to opt out?
that's what we already. We already. Have you ever opted your child out of something?
Have I opted my child out of something? I can't remember, but maybe, probably.
We heard from, this Jaworski, how some parents choose to opt their children out of Harry Potter because they don't approve of witchcraft. So some parents are already aware of the process.
Okay, but if it gets if it makes everybody comfortable, we almost.
It doesn't make me comfortable.
Almost every kid has to opt into Camp Timberlake. Every kid has to opt into the 24-hour challenge. So we know how to do opt-in.
Those are very different circumstances.
There's a potential danger, there's
Thank
no
you.
danger in reading. God.
I'd rather just not have the program than ask the parents to sign. a petition.
Absolutely not. I would not say that.
Okay. So anyway, that's where I stand, and you know, that's my opinion, and I'm definitely entitled to it.
Yeah, Fred?
And I think we are having a good conversation.
I agree with you, and we, like I said, I agree on a lot.
You took an oath to represent the members.
Thank you.
And we do not agree with your opinion.
Did you have other stuff to
Speak
say?
What the community wants.
Thank you, Fred. John
I
Cuttrell.
think I've articulated
Yeah,
the best I could about why I think opt-in for this is inadequate. The things we choose to opt in for have greater risk, are usually outside of the curriculum, or have gruesome things like the Scottish play. I don't know what else I would be able to say to convince anyone else. If there's a specific objection that I could try and formulate an argument against about why opt-in would be necessary, I can try and work on that. But I think I've responded to.
yeah, and for me, it's just, we know then that they know what they've seen this disclaimer, and they know what their kids are reading, and I'm all for parents knowing what's going on with their children in school, and I always would.
And it can be easy to miss things in the middle of the school year. I try and go over my kids' schoolwork with them. Unfortunately, we don't get to do it every day. You know, we send the elementary kids, they get a special folder. One side is to go home, stay home, one side is to come back. But sometimes it'll sit there for a week and we won't get to go over it. And if it's something that is in the main registration packet, that we have somebody at the front table saying, oh, we didn't get in. So instead of just an opt-in, could we make it a required form that it's, you have to check one of these boxes? Opt in
So like
or opt out?
Opt out, like they're gonna have both options.
Like you can't register your kid without submitting this form.
Correct. That's what we're working towards.
So we'd have both options on the form.
It's the in or out. You sign it.
I
along
have
with
no issue with that.
several other items.
I would have zero issue with that.
My continued issue is just that we're creating a problem that doesn't exist. We're trying to find a solution to a problem that didn't exist. I want the program back.
I'll go over that.
I want it to happen, but I don't want to now.
I want the program back too, for those who want it. 100% with you.
I don't want to validate the opinion that the whole list, and people are allowed to have their opinion. I don't want to validate the opinion that the whole list is something that is controversial, something that is.
I don't think the whole list is controversial, and I suspect that the teachers will pick a few of the puddle books to be in their list. I suspect they will. Because I don't think the entire list is garbage. I just don't. And the teachers are free to put a couple of those on there, I'm sure. And not only that, it leaves them free to pick previous puddle books on there. They can even put Harry Potter back on the list now if they want. So I actually think it creates more flexibility for the teacher. Right? So they can choose off the COTL list, they can choose on it, they can choose from previous lists, they can pretty much choose from anything.
But when Lisa and I talked to the teachers, like, we asked them why they like the COTL, and they said it's just the simplicity, right? You have 20 books that have been expertly chosen, and it just helps them towards the end of the year and not to have another like burden on them, right? Like, they're doing all the end of school year stuff, and now they have to choose, like, they have to go through all these lists.
I mean, they're
But
picking a
they'll
list.
have the
Yeah, they're
list.
still picking the list.
The books are here.
Right, but if
still
they
have the
chose
list.
6 of the books on the list,
So choose them.
right, so
Parents just have
if
to
they
opt
chose
in.
6 books out of the COTL list, that would be okay.
Choose them. Nobody's saying they can't choose them. They just have to sign the thing saying, I'm aware of this.
No, that's a different
That's
program.
separate.
Oh, that's the other thing?
There's a 6th grade and a 7th, 8th grade sort of thing.
Oh, that's that one.
Honestly, I trust that they would find books outside of the COTL list probably, because the COTL list isn't the end all be all. Even if you love the COTL list, it's certainly not the end all be all, right? So this creates even more flexibility. So
Still like we're making more work than needs to be.
if it's going in the registration packet, how much more work is it?
Track.
2, 3 reams of paper.
And then for the librarians, they like, let's say you have a new student that comes in, they have to like go into their file and then they have to check like, okay, this is a book that you can check out. Like, I just,
No, it won't be that.
No,
not like that.
No.
Okay.
Check out whatever book they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
kids
We're
can,
just talking, so I
the
think
kids can always check out any book they want.
Yep, right.
They
I
always
think it's a
can.
little confusion of what is.
So maybe that's where we're missing things.
Yeah, there might be a little confusion of what is the COTL program and what is the summer reading program, and what is just the library program in and of itself.
Maybe that's what we're missing, because if a kid wants to walk in and pick a book.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they could do that.
yeah.
Yeah, they always
It doesn't matter if it's on
Yeah.
the, that's not the point.
But the COTL program, the library holds, like teachers,
COTL
like you
program-
can't have it in the classrooms.
It's not part of our,
Not part of the core, yeah.
not
okay,
part of the core curriculum.
Got it.
But now it's a choice program that's housed in the library that parents, if, depending on what you decide, opt in, opt out.
So it's always been a choice program.
No, that's not true.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not true. That's why Millburn is unique. This is why I think there's a little bit of confusion. When
Can you speak back, please? I can't hear you.
the way the COTL program has worked in our community at Millburn, and why part of it's been so successful is because it's been part of our summer reading program, which is a requirement for our students to read a book over the summer that the teachers then discuss in class in the school year, which is great. I'm not making any judgments about the list or the contents of the books. This is the facts of what it was and is. It was part of our core curriculum because kids got a grade on it, and it was done during their ELA class. That's not how other library programs have used the COTL list. It's fine. Millburn does things differently than others, bigger, better, whatever. That's been great. So the point is,
What do you like that?
the discussion has been, first of all, people were confused that the board had authority over this. Well, if it's part of our curriculum, the board does have the authority. I'm not making a judgment on the board's decision at all. That's just the authority of it, because it's materials that are used in the classroom for our curriculum. Meeting an objective, and each grade level has a different objective and a different manner of how they use it and for what purpose to meet standards. So what the board has said is we were withdrawing in the 2 meetings ago, we're withdrawing the participation in the COTL program itself. That does not take the COTL books out of circulation. It doesn't, because that, first of all, it would be against the law, and second, I would not advise that. And the second of all, that would be really burdensome and not fair to our kids. It just would be impossible. So what we are saying now, where we are at now, this is my understanding, is that the restoration of the reader's choice, so we have the Monarch in the K, we generally do that in the K2 group, and the Blue STEM in the 3-5 group. And then in the middle school, the Caudle program. Restoring those programs, putting an opt-in, opt-out option on our registration packet that must be signed by our parents. Our office staff checks to make sure there's a signature and that people have filled this out every year already. So that is not a significant amount of work. We're redoing that form to make it more clear. Actually, we're making some of the other choices a little bit more clear too, because it's not clear how you opt out. It's just one signature at the bottom. So now you'll have a toggle, yes, no, you can pick and choose what you're opting into and out of. Yes, it will create more work for our librarians because they'll have to monitor kids who want to participate in the voting for that program. So the program itself will be housed in the library. It's voting, it's, all that process as it was before. We're taking it out of our ELA curriculum. Some of the concern that I heard, I think, from the staff has been, okay, if for the summer reading program, no longer using the term Caudle, but for our summer reading program that we want kids to read a book over the summer, they come back, the teachers have chosen 5 or 6, depending on the grade level, on 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and said, read a book because we're going to have a class discussion on it and an assignment. We're allowing the teachers to choose those. The question was, what if those books were on the Caudle list? Would that matter? I think from what I'm hearing is no, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. We don't want it to use the term Caudle. There's if for example, that Alone was on last year's Caudle list. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it's a great book. If that met the objectives of their lessons, they would use that book as one of their 5 or 6 possible readings. They're asking the kids to choose one of those. That's the summer reading program. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, first of all, just the Reader's Choice Awards that house in the library, whether it's an opt-in or opt-out. As Jillian said, we would have some clear evidence, data of how many people would opt out. If 95% of our parents opt their kids into that, check the box yes, we would have some clear evidence that this is a program that we want. Maybe it doesn't matter if we have an opt, maybe then we flip to an opt-out the next year and monitor it, look at it again. I don't know. It's not what the teachers wanted. I get it. It's not what some of the community members have expressed tonight. But if that's what it takes to get it back, our staff will make it work to the best of the best we can. That's where we're at.
Are those five books, 5 or 6 books already selected? Like, have they been doing that in the past or this?
No, they're not selected. We're
This, I
working
think,
on,
believes
first we have
it's
to
a
get
choice
the check.
and, everybody reading from the same and then having a discussion. That's the other
That
program.
covers that.
And the teachers do pick those books.
Correct. Correct. I just want, because it seemed like there was some confusion over what actually we're talking about.
I agree.
Make sure that we're clear.
So they're opting into the Reader's Choice,
Just that part.
just that part. So if kids don't opt in, they don't get the vote, but the books will still be in the library.
Correct.
And they'll see the list. So what we're telling kids is you have to opt in to vote. I mean, because the
think
books are still gonna be there. We're still gonna have the summer list, and some of those books might be objectionable to some parents. And there's a disclaimer before going, go over the list with your child, and we encourage you to read it with them. But that's still gonna be there. There's all gonna have, so I have no idea why this argument's been going on, because it seems like your solution for opting in is it doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Anything to say?
No.
Right. Brendan, make a motion.
I would like to hear something from the three who haven't spoken. We're trying to leave, we have a discussion. Like it is us. And I would like to know your points of view.
All the books are here. Having parents opt in or out is not asking much. If parents don't get the choice to opt in or out, they have less choice than the students have to read or whatever. It's gonna be run through the library. There's not much issue there. I don't see any problems with it. You have 70% who did not participate. 30% who did. So 30% of the kids would have to opt in to do it. Whereas 70%, the majority, who aren't participating anyway, wouldn't have to do anything.
Is that what the number was?
That's from
30?
these
Well,
guys.
no, that's how many books were checked out versus
That's based on.
that were
book use.
under the call list.
Yeah, under the thing.
Okay, book use. I get where you're getting those numbers now.
There's not much difference. They gotta sign a piece of paper in a form that's already there. The program is back here. They just have to come to the library. It's not that different.
But
They can read whatever book they want.
just to clarify on those numbers, it wasn't that only 30% of the kids were participating in the programs.
Right.
That was
30% of the books were.
the books checked out
Yeah.
from here. They could buy their own.
I bought ours on
And they still
Thank
can.
you.
They can still do all that. And a parent can check, yeah, I want them in. They can also check, no, I don't want them in. We're giving more choice at this point.
My concern, again, is the precedent we're setting would, let's say we get some flat earthers on this board, would we then require? Would we then require, and they got the majority next time? Or would we then require, to learn about Christopher Columbus, now we're requiring you to opt in? I think that's dangerous precedent for the future.
I don't think that's, I don't think so.
Thank you for engaging.
Yeah, no problem. No, I have no problem talking about it. It's hard when we have a lot of interruptions. I'd like to discuss as a board. I have no problem doing that. That's why we're here. But if we have a program that is on the curriculum that some people feel shouldn't be and some feel should be, then we have an issue. And if it's just on the curriculum and there's no other choice, then that's not a choice.
But there is.
We're just saying we're gonna have a choice now.
There's a uniform grievance procedure for, and you can complain about curriculum. Any parent can complain about curriculum. They can file a grievance. They can send an email to the principals and say, you know.
That
I don't
sounds like a
this.
lot though, for people who would find it hard to sign a piece of paper.
If,
It's not an issue.
if there's a problem with the curriculum and people have a problem with curriculum, then the correct course of action is to bring it to the notice of the principals and then the superintendent. They can, there's a board policy for filing objections to curriculum. That's what we do. We don't have people opting in to a reading program. I mean, opting into a field trip is because a field trip is not a regular thing of school. School day, reading programs pretty, they're standard. I expect my kids to have to be told to read specific books. And therefore, I would take a look at the books that the teachers are asking them to read and decide whether he should or shouldn't.
But do all parents?
Well, that
Sounds like most will throw the sheet away or forget about it.
yes, because that's
So how can you trust that?
people who are not caring about what their kids are reading, that's what they're doing. They're saying, I don't care. But you're expecting your kids to read books and to be asked to read books. You're expecting kids to get a textbook for math and social studies and science you're expecting these things, and people can look at all of that curriculum and make an objection to it if they want. This is no different, but we are going. I'm sorry, I feel that this list is left leaning, so therefore I'm going to switch it from regular school to now you've got to decide whether you're going to participate in school or not. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It really is.
The fact that we put here's the difference. We put a disclaimer on this list and we send it to all the parents. By doing an opt-in, we know they've read it. So it is very comparable to a field trip. It is different than most other things.
It actually makes it more.
And we actually put a disclaimer
Don't try
on it.
and play around like this is making life better for other people. You're making it worse for other people. We are not making people more accountable. We're making them less accountable by saying, listen, if something bad is going to happen to your child, we're going to warn you first up. You're a parent. You have to anticipate and think about these things beforehand. You cannot wait for somebody else to say, hey, your child is in danger. Do you want me to save them or not? That's not the way life works. You have to grow up. You have to experience the world. You have to get out of your own little bubble and see everything. And sometimes you're going to skin your knees. But you're saying, my parents, the parents of Millburn are not good parents because they don't read these disclaimers that come out, and therefore we're going to force them to do so because they might get hurt.
So you just said they're not good parents. What does that mean? Did you just say the parents aren't good parents?
No.
Well,
Again, you're not
I didn't
listening.
either. So why are you saying that we say that? Or he says that, well, Jason must have said that they're bad
John.
parents. Just because you said it doesn't make it true.
Because you're saying that they have to.
I never
opt in
said they're
because they
bad
don't
parents in our
read this.
community, and the fact that you would even imply that is ridiculous.
I move to approve the guidelines for Reader's Choice Program as opt-in or opt-out with parent approval, and it's run through the library.
You just said opt out.
Opt-in or opt-out, that's what it is. They can opt-in or opt-out. Correct?
I think that the motion is a little too vague.
Yeah.
I propose to reinstate. I propose the reinstatement of the Reader's Choice Program at Millburn District 24. This initiative will require parental consent and will be administered through the library.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded.
No.
Madam Secretary?
Brandon Murphy,
No.
Peter Petrini,
Yes.
Jillian Phelps. No. John Ruggles,
Yes.
Brett Skepstrom,
No.
Lisa Luster,
Yes.
and John Lorenzen. We're gonna keep showing up.
No. Fred, make a motion.
Make a motion to reinstate.
I move to reinstate the Reader's Choice Program as it stood for Millburn School District as of March 1st, 2024.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Okay, so we will go Peter Petrini,
No.
Jillian Phelps,
Yes.
John Ruggles.
No.
Brett Skepstrom,
Yes.
Lisa Luster,
No.
John Lorenzen,
Yes.
and Brandon Murphy.
Yes.
That concludes the summer reading program.
We can move on.
Yeah, update policy for public participation.
So because I'm the one who brought this up at the last meeting, there were basically two things, two main camps in it. One, the one that I would prefer versus the one that it seemed like we reached consensus on. Now, the one that I would prefer would be using the state ISB guidelines to allow emailed public comments to be read, but we could limit it to maybe 30 minutes. And if we receive multiple on the same subject, we could condense it. But it seemed like most people didn't want that, and it seemed like the consensus would be to, if somebody explicitly states their email is for public comment, we would make a link on the website with our minutes that would say these are the emailed public comments. And maybe we could have it, if it comes in by 6:30, so somebody on the board has time to read it, somebody on the board, I don't necessarily want to add things to Rachel here, to then paraphrase those comments. That's what I believe the consensus we were getting at with the email comments. Is that just accurate?
Post them on the website.
We would post them on the website, not discuss them at all,
No,
not do a paraphrase.
no, just post them on the website.
Do any other schools post them on the website?
No, they
Do any
don't.
other schools read them out loud?
ISB, the Illinois State Board of Education reads. Well,
But I mean, schools that are
in the
here.
county.
And the count,
in the
I
county.
do not.
but no
I'm not
schools in our, at least in our area that I know.
Okay.
No. I'm good with whatever.
That's what you always say.
Thanks.
He has to
You guys are the
say yes.
Tell me what to do.
I make a motion to update the policy to read emails that are asked to read, but if there are, we could summarize if they're all a lot on the same topic, and then post them on the website if they also agree to that.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Jillian Phelps. Yes. John Ruggles.
John?
Ken Ruggles.
Yes.
Yes. Fred Tetra.
Yes.
Lisa Brewster.
No.
John Lorenzen.
Yes.
Brendan Murphy.
Yes.
And Peter Petrini.
No.
Motion passed.
Posting them,
Yeah, we're just posting them.
posting on the website.
Posting on the website. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I thought we were summarizing that.
And then summarize.
We're gonna summarize them, right?
Yeah.
And then post them.
That's why I said no.
Okay, we're just. posting
You
them.
said that they would be read if they wanted to be read.
Right.
Those that were of the same topic would be summarized and read.
So like, they
And posted,
they
I
send an
think,
email
for like
and
all
say, would you read, this is my public comment, I can't make it because there's an eclipse. So we would read it, and if there's 12 on the same issue, we could just summarize and just read one.
Can we limit it to 3 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely, all other,
No, we don't, for the vote comes in.
if you'd like me to write up a specific.
Yes.
on this.
Please, that way I don't want to read a 15-page dissertation.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would rather people come in and participate rather than sit at home and sending minutes.
It's nice to have them here, and so they can't be here, they can't be here, but it's actually nice to have them here talking. As opposed to 3 people.
Just a no, because all the other school districts don't.
No, I mean, my point is like, I'd rather have people attend than listen
No,
to stuff,
right.
yeah.
No, I agree, yeah.
Not as passionate as this, but paving parking lots.
Consent agenda. Need a motion? to
Nope.
approve.
No, no, that's an agreement.
Oh, really?
Very, very
Oh,
important.
jeez.
Yeah.
Oh,
Skip this
moving fast. Okay.
Thanks.
Been a long night and I have to go to bed.
John Ruggles and I we're on the negotiating committee. We did it a little differently this year. With, you know, a couple of degrees of separation, teachers union met with, Jason and Carly. And then John and I met with Jason and Carly. We've discussed, everybody discussed. We believe that we reached a fair agreement. Are there any questions from anybody who's not John or myself that we could answer?
Did you like this process, like how it was kind of removed as opposed to you guys like being in the front line?
I think it worked well, because quite often, you know, I don't dig through the hundreds of pages of budget that, you know, Carly does, and, you know, Jason has these intense spreadsheets where we tweak all these numbers, and, you know, he forwarded me the formulas he was using. But, you know, we're volunteers, I just don't have the same amount of time to, so I think it was really great, because if it was just us, you know, if it was John and I sitting down with them and doing it in heat and moment, be like, well, I don't know, because I haven't run all these numbers, so I think the process did work well. At first, I was a little apprehensive, because it seemed like they didn't want us at the table negotiating, but, yeah, I think it was a good way.
Need a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the agreement for the MFT for 2024-26 school years.
Second.
All right, Madam Secretary, we'll call the roll, please.
John Ruggles,
Yes.
Fred Steptoe,
Yes.
Lisa Worcester,
Yes.
John Lorenzen,
Yes.
Brandon Murphy,
Yes.
Peter Petrini,
Yes.
and Jillian Phelps. Yes. Motion passed.
Woo-hoo. All
Thank
right,
you, board. Yes. Congratulations.
consent agenda.
So can we pull Chad off here and tell him he can't retire?
Yeah, I object to that. I got an issue with that.
Oh, that's like 2 years down the road, though.
Yeah, no.
Or, oh,
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second,
Fred Steptoe,
yes.
Lisa Worcester,
Yes.
John Lorenzen,
Yes.
Brandon Murphy,
Yes.
Peter Petrini,
yes.
Jillian Phelps.
Yeah.
And John Ruggles.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, budget and information discussion. Yeah, information discussion.
Okay, so we are amending the budget this year. I will pull it up. Do you want to talk about it a bit, Carly?
If you actually click on the business
I've
office
got
report.
Q
Oh, perfect.
right there.
So this is essentially what was introduced to you at the last board meeting. The first page here is just the schedule, so we went ahead and posted, the legal notice in, the Daily Herald newspaper, that there would be a budget hearing on May 20th. The actual amended budget is posted to the district website, that's the many multi-tab Excel document that goes into each line item. It's pretty detailed, but if we jump down to the next page, you can just scroll down to page 2. Pages 2, I think this is 6 pages, but basically this is broken out by fund. And I've updated where the revenue and expenditures are changing. And then if you were to look at the very detailed spreadsheet on the district website, the line items here would be broken out into these different, functions and objects. So if you have questions on any one of these items, I can explain what's behind that number. Or give a summary. So again, it's broken out by fund. Each fund is listed here. There's a little bit of extra revenue with interest that we were, again, not expecting as much. And I just saw an email today that looks like those interest rates may stay a little on the high side for
foreseeable future, which is good for us. And the other thing that this document captures is where we're transferring interest to. So there are two funds, working cash and debt service that we're transferring into Fund 10, which will be what we asked the board to approve in May as well. So any questions on any one of these line items? Or if you have questions, if you want to take this back and you have questions, feel free to shoot me an email.
Thanks, Carly.
Thanks, Carly.
Did you work on this?
Do you still have a folder for FOIA requests?
Yes,
Because I was looking, I didn't see it. Where we- where-
I can ask Veronica about it tomorrow. Yes, we have a folder in the board documents that shows the responses as well, so. I think there's one more that'll be on the next agenda. Future.
Future agenda items, superintendent report.
So we are gearing up for summer projects on the building. We, just as a reminder, we have the asbestos abatement going on in the final area of the building that has asbestos. And many other projects going on to try and beautify these buildings, keep them maintained. So keep working on that and we'll update you as you go. May 28th is graduation. That's a Tuesday. It's the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So if any of you can make it, you're all invited. John must be there.
In a hot suit.
Suit, handing out diplomas. So that's May 28th. The rain date would be May 29th, next day. It's outside at the middle school.
What time is that? 5 or something, do we know
Jake,
that?
what time is graduation?
5, no?
5:30.
Oh. No, I'm serious. Like,
Peter, you're gonna have to step.
yeah,
Only if I can read every single one.
He practices the name.
you have to pass.
You gotta practice the name, you get out and say it wrong.
I do practice the
Except the other wrong person would graduate, I think. So.
It's, you know.
May 1st is staff appreciation. That starts at 3:30 on May 1st. You're all invited to come. You don't have any official capacity duties, but you're all invited to be there. It's at the middle school from 3:30 to about 5-ish. Right after school.
I would like an official duty. I feel uncomfortable just.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
We can give you an official duty if you're going to RSVP.
I could be a doorstop or something like that. That's me something.
Reader, official.
There
reader.
you go.
You can hand out the prizes. Yeah. Wednesday, May 8th is the Lake County Educator of the Year. There are over 700 participants signed up to attend that. It's at the fairgrounds, so that's for all schools. We have 3 nominees. I'll read those at the next board meeting. Because I don't want to miss anybody. Just 3, right? Sure. I'm looking at you.
3.
Sorry, put that. 3. Last year, we had our assistant principal, Carrie, was 1 for all of it, assistant principal here, which is really cool. And we had somebody the year before that too. Carol again? Carol? Yeah. She was the 8th grade math teacher. So that's coming up on Wednesday, May 8th. Lots of other details. I'll put all of this in my board notes on Friday so that you've got a record of it because May gets really busy. That's it for me.
Mine was just the budget amendment.
Okay. All right, any board reports?
Couple things, I wanted to touch on what John was talking about, having to cancel a couple of the epic events just due to lack of volunteers, like for the spring family fun night, there were only 4 volunteers who signed up. And that's just not enough, you know, the board can only do so much there, so. I know life gets busy and hectic, but again, you know, it takes a village and we'd love to see people volunteer for those things too.
Yes, anybody listening, please volunteer. Who's ever watching at the Owl?
I attended a second grade music concert. It's great watching them do their thing. You know, sometimes they're not always as focused as, but they're second grade. So it's great. Just a couple issues, with the facilities on that. I already brought them up to Jason with the sound system. It is inadequate. It crackles. You can't hear people in that gym. He's already aware of the issue if something's in the pipe works, and then, the flag in that gym was no longer a fitting symbol of our democracy. The blue cantons faded, the white stripes are yellowing, and so we're gonna be talking to maintenance about getting that to brighten up. And then on an unfortunate, more serious note, you know, 25 years ago, this past weekend was the anniversary of Columbine. It happened when I was in high school, and unfortunately, it is a fact of public education in America. And kids growing up now have their own, you know, Uvalde and Sandy Hook. I protested with my school and, you know, got 2-day suspension when that happened, due to lack of whatever it was back then. Anyway, so I just want to remind people to lock up their gear. Most guns that are used in school shootings, kids access from their parents, which isn't properly secured. And before you send your kid over to somebody else's house on a play date, whatever, just have that open, honest conversation with the other parents. Hey, do you have any guns in the house? Are they secure? It's the reality of America, unfortunately. That's me.
I attended the first grade music performance. I thought it was really great. I thought they put on a really fun thing, Pete the Cat. I love that they wrote their own song. I thought that was absolutely stupendous. I thought it was great. Creativity wise, great turnout from the parents as well. A lot of enthusiasm. I know the sound system didn't work, but I also like the improvisation that happened, and the kids got even louder and goofier. So yeah, I think it did great. Mr. Walshire, you did amazing. We're trying to rally everybody, and you know, yeah. So I thought it was a great overall for everybody. So really appreciate it.
I did the first grade dance party or song party too. It was. All right. We do not have closed session, so. I will take a motion to get out of here.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh.
All right. Oh, yeah, I think it's not signature. But I need to know, like, what that wording was.